that we did for the first time that I got signed to a label, he was like, I think we can do more with it. And then I ended up being signed to Universal and traveled the world. We did the Madison Square Garden. I traveled with Pitbull, did songs with Snoop, Flo Rida, Daddy Yankee, Ciara, Missy Elliott. Gabriel produced for Luis Fonsi, Enrique Iglesias, Paulina Rubio. So my husband has been a producer working with not just Warner Chappell, but also Universal, Sony, and different labels as a producer of music and as a singer. That's what I got to do. And then I decided that it was time to retire. And at that point, we only had 2 kids. That's how we got to 7. Really committed. And then after I decided, you know what, I lived a full life. I really have had a fulfilling journey. Then we got this opportunity from our YouTube channel. We got an email, and I thought it was a joke at first. So like saying, oh, we want to get in contact with whomever can get a hold of Adassa or management for Adassa. And I responded as my own agent. I was like, hello, this is Naomi. You can contact Gabriel Candiani at the following number.
Naomi is her middle name.
That's my middle name. So, and then next thing I know, Gabriel was calling me. It's Disney. And I was like, stop it. And yeah, we went on LinkedIn. I was like researching these people's names. And I was like, oh, these people are legit. It's for realsies. And so they asked me to audition for an undisclosed film. And after the first round of audition, I got a call back. And that's when I found out it was for Encanto.
I remember the baby part a little bit different. So we like you said, we had 2 babies and we were doing absolutely great. And then one day she comes to me and says, you know what, there's more to life than just doing the music thing. And I said, really? I don't think so. And then she goes, yeah, I think that we should have a big family. And I think I said,
yeah,
I think that was my reaction.
That was his reaction.
And then, but we're doing so great. We'll be free in just a few years.
Yeah.
But, you know, we prayed about it. And we thought, you know what? Yeah, we really should have a family. And I think she was really serious because then after that was 5 babies in a row. When the call came, honestly, I have always been probably her #1 fan. I know there's a bunch of people there that think they're the #1 fans. They're not. I am. So one day we were at home and I just say, I really love it when you sing like rappy, like low, like that. I just really love your texture and the soft, low voice. And I said, why don't we just make this reggaeton song just for fun, you know? And reggaeton is a known music for being very sexual, you know, very, I don't know, you know, that. And then we just decided we wanted to do something that was just smooth and romantic and whatever. And so we did it and nobody listened to it.
They had like 300.
Yeah, like 300 people, okay? So we've been done all these movies, with, all these songs with like hundreds of thousands, literally millions of views with Snoop Dogg and whatever. But we decided to do that one. We did that song and nobody listened to it. We didn't care because we enjoyed it. And then one day we are in a hotel, we were at Miami and I had a camera. So I said, you look spectacular today. Why don't I just film you doing that song? And we just put it in YouTube just because, hey, why not? So she's like, you know, she just, follows my crazy. So I put the thingy and then she just kind of did the whole song. And the song is basically what you know now as Delores. Can you
it's because it was a little bit of like a warmer rap. Háblame claro, dime por qué acabó. Lo de nosotros fue más de una noche de simple pasión. And it kind of was in that vein. And then little did I know that later on I would be doing grew to live in fear, Bruno stuttering and stumbling. I can always hear him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand.
We didn't think nothing will come up out of it.
That's the thing. You really go into it with an open heart, but you're always hoping something could happen.
And Adassa would be like, no. Honestly, I was always like the dreamer. She's the one with the 2 feet.
I'm the realist.
She's the realist. I am not. So then I just like, whatever, we'll see what happens. And then we put it out there. And then it just so happens that the people who listen to it were people who actually make decisions. So then so I'm just saying for all of you guys who are doing your stuff and you only have a few viewers, you don't know who those few viewers are. So don't ever think, oh, there's too few people. No, one person makes a big difference. So one of them was actually the casting director for Disney. So when they called, I think Lin-Manuel also heard it because the part is very congruent. I mean, the way that it all worked out, it was amazing. So anyway, they called her the night, and she did the rap. She did the, what do you did?
Oh yeah, so they had me audition with one of Lin-Manuel's amazing pieces, and that was Satisfied from Hamilton. So this is what it feels like to match wits with someone at your level. What the hell is a catch? It's the feeling of freedom of seeing the light. It's Ben Franklin with a key and a kite. You see it, right? So that's what I auditioned with live for them.
Yeah, so she, as you can tell, she can rap very, very fast, you know, and actually she does a lot faster. So we were like, oh, this is gonna be no problem. All right, so in the next morning after the exciting, amazing time, she was like showing all her, I hope Disney one day shows that meeting.
Oh, because I was totally like, if this is the only time they're ever going to see my face and hear my story, I'm gonna make my story be known. And it's not about me, it's about the struggles that my family went through. For me to be born in the United States and have these comforts and the ability to have that opportunity was thanks to the sacrifices of my family. And so when they first got on the screen, I was like, hi, it's so wonderful to meet you. And then they were like,
she had all the pictures.
I had all the pictures ready of my family. And then I was like,
the grandpa.
Like before they even said anything, because I was like, you know, these are executives. They got like 30 seconds of attention span. And so I went into like this live slideshow. This is my grandfather, and this is my mother, and this is my grandmother, and this is, you know, what they went through, my dad. And then afterwards they were like, great. Are you going to sing for us?
So she did it, and it was an amazing experience. The next morning she told me she was feeling dizzy and she'd been feeling weird for a few weeks, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. So then she goes, maybe it's baby number 8. And I think I had the exact same reaction that I had the first time. No, it was internal this time. I knew better. This time I knew better. So I'm like, well, you know, baby, have you already done the regular testing? And she goes, yeah.
Yeah, but like that happened in baby number 3. You know, all the tests came out, you know, negative. And then all of a sudden, April Fools, you are pregnant, you know, the doctor. So then I went to get a blood test, and that's when things took a toll for the worst. And
she called me from the hospital like 2 hours later. I stayed with the kids, you know, feeding them breakfast and taking them to school and all that. And when I came back, she's still not back. And I thought, well, you know, they're taking the test. It's taking a long time. But then she called me, and she was speaking like this. I can never forget it because it was so horrible. She was just went like that. And I'm like, who's this, you know? I mean, I know her to speak just fast and clear, and, you know, you know? So then I'm like, who's this? And it's Adassa. And I'm like, what is going on with you? And she told me she was dying. And I'm like, what? You just went there like right now. So I jumped in the car, just went like Batman and that thing. It's like, you know, I got over there. They didn't let me in because it was COVID, and they had guards and this and that. And I said, she was here like 15 minutes. How is she dying already? So I had to have a big fight with the hospital. They didn't want to let her out. They didn't know what it was, what the reaction was to what. They gave her 2 pills. We don't know what those pills were. The bottom line, she was dying. So she texted me that she wanted to die at home.
So we had to sign the paperwork, taking responsibilities for anything that were to happen after.
That's what they were doing at that moment. COVID had not completely take over. So they just gave her the choice to die at home or to die in the hospital. But they didn't let me in to be there with her as she was supposedly dying. So then she signed the paperwork, and I literally had to carry her in my arms into the car for us to drive back. So yeah, it was not a fantastic story at that point, trust me.
And then we had a friend from church, which is our home teacher, and he was a paramedic. And he told us, you know, this looks like you may be having a stroke of some sort. This is serious. Why don't we go to Vanderbilt?
She couldn't think straight.
I couldn't stand up. So then I immediately told him, well, in what words I could, that I needed to draft a will, because if something happened, I needed my kids to be protected. I needed everything to be in line. You don't want to leave something like
honestly,
that.
we always thought, I'm going to be at one rapping here, you know, because as you can probably not tell at all, you know, but yeah, I am older. I'm 15 years older than Adassa. So then I thought, I'm the one who's going to be going with this COVID thing. And as it turns out, she's the one who got really, really sick. And she's like in perfect shape. And, you know, I mean, we had no reason to expect that would be the situation. But
well, we got to Vanderbilt. I was there for 14 hours and I just felt like this was the end. And then Gabriel wouldn't be allowed to be in. And so what ended up happening was that they ran CT, MRIs, blood work, everything under the sun. And then verdict came that the neurologist sat with us and said, you know, with COVID, there's a lot of unknowns. We have been seeing different things happening and you seem to have some kind of neurological issue. So we can run a spinal tap and we can draw some other tests to
Some
see,
other conclusion.
you know, what it could be. But then I was like,
But no treatment.
No, there is no treatment. There was more like, we can try to just run more
We can
tests.
experiment of you. That's how I heard it in my brain. So we can experiment with you and we have no solution for your problem. But if you allow us to poke you around, maybe we'll figure out what it is that is going on.
They were as kind as they could be with the amount of people that there were there. I mean, we were even on the passageways, the walkways, we just had like a sticker with our number.
They sit in a chair, they stick a paper on the top.
It was
charges for the room.
chaos. It was
Full of
chaos.
people, I didn't care. I had to be outside outside, just looking through the window, 17 hours, no water.
Yeah, by the time we left, it was 17 hours. And then that was
terrible.
And so I went home and I told Gabriel, I want to go home and I want to die with my kids. I don't want them to know their mother from a cell phone for the last few hours or days or whatever. And so we went home, we prayed together, we talked with the kids. I couldn't hold them. I couldn't walk and talk at the same time. I couldn't pick my kids up and then I would go completely stiff. So I would just go completely stiff like a board. I couldn't move or talk or anything for hours without end. And then it would go away. So it was just past not being able to speak. I couldn't move. I would just be paralyzed completely from the neck down. And I honestly understood in that moment that nothing else mattered, that the most important thing was to know that I had married my sweetheart, the man of my eternities in the temple, that we were sealed as a family, that I had the hope that no matter what would happen after that moment, that the Lord knew what was in our hearts and how much we loved each other and how much we loved our kids, and that whatever journey my husband had to take by himself, I hope that he would have the strength to endure it. And so day after day, I would wake up and try to wiggle my toes and go, oh, I'm alive. Great, I'm still here. And a few days went by and we started fasting and praying. They fasted in church for us. And then Gabriel started feeling like, maybe we should try this. Maybe we should try this other thing. Maybe we should change the diet.
We did try all the doctor stuff and she was just getting worse.
And then Gabriel was like, maybe we need to fast and think about
we did fasting. I'm not saying I recommend this to anybody. I'm just saying that's what we did.
Yeah.
It was fasting for like 3 days at least. And then after that, it was just like garlic. And anyway, I just came out with this.
I honestly feel like he was getting inspiration.
But then you start throwing up book and all.
I started throwing up and just releasing all of these. I don't know what it was. It was, and then little by little, I started feeling better. So I could walk a little bit. And through that recuperation, that I was just like, oh my goodness, I can walk from the kitchen to the bedroom without passing out and like without going completely.
But she couldn't speak loud.
I couldn't. So
she had to speak.
All the kids had to get used to me speaking like this. Hey kids, can you please walk to the kitchen and get me a glass of water? Like that. And then I couldn't move anything else because if I moved any part of my body, I would pass out. So then I would have to sit like a board and just talk very, very lightly and whisper absolutely everything. Because any louder and I would pass out. Any movement, I would pass out. So that's how it was for weeks. And then one day I was sitting
4 weeks, I think.
About 4 weeks after that, I was laying down in Gabriel's office, and then he gets a phone call. And I was on his lap, and then we get a phone call, and it's Jamie Sparrow Roberts, which is the casting director for Encanto, saying, I just wanted to call you personally to congratulate you.
I picked up the phone. And I was like, oh. And Adassa looking at me, and she couldn't talk. So she kind of go like that. And I go, it's Disney. And then I'm thinking, and I say, well, just give me 1 second. And I mute it, and I say, hey, baby, we can't say yes to this.
I told him,
you don't have the strength to go anywhere. You should not take this. I'm sorry that they finally came to you, and it's Because by the way, from the beginning, she wanted to do Disney. I'm the one who came up with everything else that we did. But now it was her dream. It was all right there for her. And now there she was at the worst moment possible ever. So then she told me,
I said, you call him if I'm dead. I'm taking this. And then, so
watch it lay down my bed and go like this. She can barely move one arm.
and he's trying to just pander
Trust
her.
me, you didn't have the level of energy.
No, it was very, very whispery when I said
But I got that energy anyway.
And then he's talking to her and getting all the details and asking questions like, does she need to fly to LA? Because I could barely walk.
So I needed to figure out if it was possible.
Yeah.
She could not get in the plane. And they said no.
Because of COVID restrictions.
They've seen our studio because in the audition, they saw the studio and they noticed that we have a professional studio. So they're like, no, we can do it from the studio. And then I say, well, how many weeks? Because she couldn't speak. So how many weeks from now? And it was like, what?
She said about 6 weeks.
Like
I think
6
it was
weeks.
6 weeks.
Well, like 6 weeks. And then I thought, I just kind of said, give me a second. I said, Adassa, you better start breathing, relaxing, and preparing the phrase you're going to say, because she's going to want to talk to you at one point. So I kept the whole conversation. I finished the negotiation, and it was wonderful. Honestly, we didn't negotiate much. We wanted in. It was the Colombian movie from Disney. I don't know when they will ever do that again. I mean, we didn't care about money, about nothing. Trust me, once you're confronted with life, you find out that being under a tree, feeling healthy is more important than being in the most luxurious car that you could ever get. So then I say, all right, baby, because she goes, well, it's all done. Can I speak to Adassa? And I go, can you? That is exactly the question. So anyway, I said, okay, baby. And I just kind of give it to her.
I said, thank you so much. I'm so excited. When do I start?
That was it.
And then I fell down like this. I was like almost passed out.
So then and so then I finished that, and then I told her, all right. And it was honestly, it was like a Rocky movie after that.
But like a Rocky without all the intensity, because it was just like, oh, from here to the door. It was like,
it was honestly, I remember how our goals went from our bedroom to the kitchen, from the kitchen
to the door, from the door to the
we would dream to walk half of a block, and then for her to try to walk as she died. I mean, we literally went through all of that just alone, because there was nothing. Everybody was running around with their mouths like this. Nobody wanted to talk to anybody. What if she had something that could kill all people? We couldn't go to church, nothing. The church was amazing to us.
Oh,
gosh. Food. We were brand new to the war.
We had just moved into the war probably a month before this happened. It was just, it's incredible how the Ward family.
But somehow, miraculously, anyway.
By the week that we were supposed to start recording, I had gotten up to being able to do half an hour without anything happening major. 30 minutes was my window. And so I had my sessions with the directors. That went great. I was able to do everything. Since it was talking, I would let them talk and just smile. And I was feeling good. But then when it came to being with Lin-Manuel Miranda, that was the challenge, because it was rapping. And so the first time I did it, which is the scene that everybody like kind of blew up.
But you had an idea about how to do it already.
Yeah, I had an idea, because I was like, after working with the directors, and they were presenting me with the role, and they were like, well, after doing different kinds of sounds for her voice, they were like, we really consider her to be an intimate character. Do you think you
quiet,
just like very intimate? And I'm like, oh, I know that voice. I've been using that voice.
It was like she had become Delores with annoying. And the funny thing is that the name of Delores means pains. That's the translation to Delores. Delores means dolor, pain. Dolores, many pains. So we kind of felt like it was like it. I mean, she was going through a lot of pain, and she had to be soft. She had to be very emotionally quiet and stuff like that, because that's just what it needed to be. But then when they described the character, it was exactly that.
Like everything was like, tonight he wants 5 babies. Everything was very intimate and very soft and very, very still. But when it came to the rapping, that was it. I felt strong, but after the first 30 minutes that we went through,
but the first one, I think, is
like, yes, I love it. It's great, because
it's perfect.
That was like, in the
Oh, we
back.
got-
He's like, let's just do a couple more takes.
we did like an hour.
But then after we surpassed the 30 minutes, I was looking at him on the other side, and he was like, we kept watching the watch. But it was honestly a miracle. And I think that all of the dreams that I used to have as a kid were able to materialize in a very beautiful and tragic way at the same time. And because even being part of this Disney family, which now I am in, and going through all of this, I noticed what was really of value and worth. And that's when I decided, and I told Gabriel, I think it's time to really stand up for what I believe, and no matter what that means.
But it's always been wonderful for us in Disney. Our relationship with everybody, we know all of the directors, they're all amazing human beings, and we know everybody from the concert people to all of them. And honestly, they've been absolutely wonderful.
Phenomenal.
I felt, because of the controversy that has been going and stuff like that, that maybe they were going to, cancel. But no, absolutely not. Our relationship with them is quite amazing. In fact, I think we've become very good friends.
With so many of them, like Jared Bush, we keep in touch so much. When we just did the Hollywood Bowl, I was having a moment with Lynn where after we finished the last show, 2 sold-out nights at the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, it's on Disney Plus. It's forever there. This wonderful.
It's like a family, honestly.
It really is like a
family. I am in the husband's club, holding the purses, So there's what's
Carolina Gaitán,
Nico,
yeah.
So Nico owns businesses and stuff like that. I'm a producer for Warner Bros. And stuff.
And
we have on our lives, Diane Guerrero, she's awesome.
So all the husbands
the husbands are here in the club holding purses, whatever. It doesn't matter what we do in the other world. In this world, we hold purses. That's what we do.
But taking the stage on that last night, I just looked at Lynn. I was crying on the stage, and he goes, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, I said, because I didn't know if I was going to make it a year, and to be on this stage with all of you and to know everything that it took to have this moment. It was truly the epitome of hope and endurance and blessings and faith.
Lynn has always been incredible, because for such a genius person who has done so much for the Latino community and stuff like that, you talk to him and he says, he treats you like any other person, and he become very good friends with everybody in the cast. We always have a great time when we do shows or anything like that. It's a wonderful experience. Nobody gets too much into politics or anything. It's just a bunch of friends having a great time.
Yeah, at all times.
I will say though, before this whole thing happened, Adassa had been reading her scriptures for over a year, every single day, every single morning. And she washes the dishes listening to talks. I think she has listened to every talk like 3 times.
Oh, and then I go old school. I'm like, yeah.
All of them. I mean, she was already like the 70s. She already finished all the new talks and she goes back all the way to the beginning. And I will tell her, baby, I think God's going to call you for something. You keep being goody-goody. Something's going to happen. And anyway, it's been quite an amazing thing. We are very, very happy with Disney. They've been treating us amazingly. I think a lot of her dreams have come true. I mean, she's been at the Oscars, they're nominated for a Grammy.
3 Grammys.
Yeah. 3 Grammys. And it just when it looked absolutely impossible. It reminds me a lot of Sarah. Who was it? The one that laughed?
When they're like, oh yeah, you're going to have a baby now. Yeah, right. Do you know how old I am? Okay.
Yes, because I think that most of us will have to have our Abraham moment where we have to be willing to sacrifice the thing that we love the most, And in this case, she truly loved music, and she had that dream of this, and she had all this dream thing, and she had to just sacrifice it to have a family, to do all the other things.
But it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It just felt like, okay, I guess that moment in my life is complete, and this is the circle that ends and a new phase begins. And I was very happy. I mean, I was homeschooling, baking bread, and just having a ball with the kids.
We always have a good time.
We always do. And then the Lord just decided to give us this amazing blessing. And so now I am very diligent in keeping my ears open, no pun to Delores, but just really listening for the opportunities in which He needs me to be present, and keeping my faith and knowing very well where my path is going and doing.
It's difficult because I have to leave Mr. Mom a whole lot. I used to, my life was business, and Adassa is a wonderful mother,
and I love it.
And she actually, mostly I think if I was up to her, that's what she wants to be.
Yes, after
it is me pushing all the time.
After like the Oscars, I was like, cool, awesome, we're gonna go home. And then they were like, oh yeah, American Idol. Okay, sure. After American Idol, I'm gonna go back home. Woo! And then it was like, oh wait, we got this other thing, and then another thing. And so like right now we're just like, I will go, I will do the thing the Lord commands. I'm literally there.
That was just incredible. Thank you for sharing that. I love that, Gabriel, that everybody has to have their Abraham moment. That is so true. And
we have to be willing to sacrifice whatever we love the most, because that's just what it is. And I sat in her, I sat in me, but to me, it was her. To me, it wasn't music. To me, it's when I saw her dying. Now that is the moment, because she's what I love the most, in all honesty. And to just imagine for a second that God would put me through that to take away her, that was my nightmare. It was absolutely inconceivable, for me to be in that kind of situation. I mean, it's easy to say, to talk about eternal love and stuff like that, but you have to experience to truly love somebody that you can imagine to exist without that person, in whatever shape or form we get to exist in the next one, because believing the next one is what this is all about. So I'm just happy that he blessed us, that we still both here, because we have a bunch of kids that we have to take care of. And I know as a fact, I can't handle all of that. I am a terrible Mr. Mom. I was a pretty good daddy, and then they gave me this other job I did not want it. I did not sign up for this one, especially so many kids.
He's great at it. Actually, I get back and it's like, oh, there's Soldier Mom.
Yeah, I am the relaxed. Yeah, I am very chill. She, on the other hand, is a sergeant.
I am. So I've had to find the middle ground, because if not, I get back and they're like,
they always run to me to say them from their mouth.
She wants us to go to bed right now, but it's 8:00 and you said, and I'm like, okay. So we found I found that it's beautiful for the kids to have that freedom and that loosey-goosiness to express themselves. And he's also found, okay, too much loosey-goosey is not so good. So we are actually complimenting each other even more sometimes when I have to go on the road, by myself.
So that brings a great question. How did the two of you meet? Tell us about that story. And Adassa, how you said you grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. How did this all happen? This experience of you two meeting and you finding the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
Oh, well, I would say that it started when I was in school. I went to different high schools, but the one that I remember the most was Beverly Hills. And I went to Encanto High School, and I had a friend, and she really was such a nice friend. Like, she never hung out with any kids that did drugs or anything. And she was super nice and dressed very modestly, but was very cool. And then she told me, hey, there's this show that they're going to have in the auditorium, and this group is coming. I would love for you to come and watch it because you love music. And then I went, and then I was like, this is really awesome. So they were singing and they were dancing, but then if you wanted to be a part of them, you couldn't drink and you couldn't smoke. There was no sex.
Generation.
And that's when years later, I got it. And so then, like, looking back, I think that my first awakening to the church, I didn't even know I had it until like, wait, the other day I was like, wait, watching during, when they're giving conferences, and I was like, thing I saw like years ago.
It was an Amana generation with all the dances and stuff.
And I thought it was so awesome. And I'm like, that friend of mine was probably LDS and she never said anything, but her spirit was very strong. And I could tell now, being a member, I'm like, that's what you feel, that just certainty of faith. And so when I met Gabriel, we met through a production. I was brought in as one of the singers. He was a producer in the group. And I auditioned for the group. And then I got in, we started working together. And then when the production was done, I was just like, wow, this was such an incredible person to work with. And after that, we just kind of
I would like to say though something, because I think we need to keep it real. After I went to my mission and I came back, I believe that most people are motivated by three things. They're motivated by fear sometimes by ambition, and sometimes by love, you know. And sometimes we obey God for the wrong motivation. So like, let's just say you pay the tithing because you're afraid you're gonna go to hell, you know? Or you pay your tithing because you want the windows of heaven will open, and you just imagine all these things you're gonna get, which is really is an ambition. You want to get paid for doing the right thing. You want, okay, God, I did this thing, where's my blessing? Hello? You know, and then sometimes, hopefully, you get to that point that you obey God because you love Him. Man. Well, I was going through a bad time personally because I have gone to a mission. I was assistant to the mission president. I was, I guess, a successful mission. I baptized quite a lot of people, and I felt like, well, I did my thing. Now God has to pay me back for my effort, you know. And I just like, hey, you know, I baptized so many people. I mean, I already did mine, so. Here comes the blessings. But as it turns out, the blessings did not, you know, and I was kind of miserable. No fault to the situation. Without getting too much into detail of what was going on at that time, I was losing my faith. I was losing my hope. I was losing everything because my belief in God was based on ambition. And honestly, it was never fear. I was one of those atheist type. I was member of the church, but I was always swinging like, really? I don't know about the whole, she gets swallowed by a big whale and then she gets spit out somewhere else.
Oh,
yeah, right. You know, and there was a lot of, yeah, right moments with the Bible that I had a problem with. But I just kind of learned to accept it. And then when that moment happened, and I just didn't feel that God gave me the thing, and God turned out not to be Santa Claus like I hoped. You do the right thing and you get your toy, or you don't do the right thing and you get your call. And when you're in the real world, you just see a lot of people not doing the right thing with a lot of toys. You know, and you go, wait a minute, this Santa Claus is not doing it right. I'm getting the call and they're getting the toys here, and I don't think I appreciate that. So I went through a very, very hard time. When we started, yes, we fell in love and everything, but we didn't exactly, and I don't want to try to tell everybody else that we're these perfect people, because we're not. We didn't start with the right foot in. We started with the left foot all over the place, and all kinds of ways that maybe we shouldn't. And no, in fact, not maybe, we shouldn't. And basically, I left the church for a long time. And I was just like, you know what? Somehow I started doing so good, I'm gonna lie to you. After that, everything was going well for me. And I thought, well, you know, I'm kind of comfy over here. You know, everything is going much, 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 much better. And I just did not know what to do with my life, because I feel like, wait a minute, you do the right thing. And there's all these situations, you don't, and there's all these situations, and I'm really happy right now, so I'm fine. So
but then,
then,
and my side,
Adassa, on the
I
other
was
hand,
like, you know, who he is and the person and his spirit. I was just so intrigued, and we would have a lot of deep conversations about religion. And I was like, you know what? You should come to my church and I'll go to yours.
I will answer all her questions, but I did not wanted her, you know, honestly, because I thought I knew what it came with it. You know, I knew all the commitment that it is to follow Christ and all that stuff. And I go, we're good where we are. You know, but she's like, no, she was this curiosity, the intense. God bless me with her, you know, because she was the solution for me to find myself and my relationship with God. But weird enough, it was by losing that relationship that then suddenly I refound it in a whole new way. But yes, please.
Well, the thing was that he started taking the missionaries from the Adventist church. I started taking the missionaries.
Oh, because I say, I don't want to take it to the church without me giving you the same, you know, thing. I will be open-minded.
Yes.
Let's call the church, your church, we were in Corpus Christi at the time. And I said, let's call them and send them the missionaries. So when I told them I was a Mormon, then they're like, oh no, they sent it the guy who was like the guy.
The local president.
He was giving these conferences at that time
Yeah.
there, and he like was like some kind of big shot. And he came personally to the house to kind of like get a notch on his thing, I guess. You know, I'm gonna get me a Mormon. So he was a little bit late. I opened the door and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I was with some clients. And I go, clients? What are you talking about? You sell encyclopedias or something? And I said, no, you know, because I make my living on this. Anyway, I received the missionaries, and I, with an open mind, I truly tried to see if I could believe it was true.
And then on me, on the other hand, as he was answering our questions truthfully, I understood this is not the church that I'm looking
With
for.
all
This is
respect to
not-
him, he was a
Yeah,
wonderful man.
he was answering it, but there was things that were not, they were just not conclusive. Okay, this is part of the truth, but where's the rest of it? So it's like saying, okay, I got 2 slices of bread. Where's the meat and the cheese?
I literally asked him, do you have the whole truth? And he says, no. He literally told me.
I think that all the churches have a little bit of the truth, but not the whole truth. And so when I really got into reading the Book of Mormon and taking missionaries, and I had many sets of missionaries because we were on tour during that time, when I finally felt, okay, I'm going to pray about this, and I totally felt this is the true church.
She was in the bathroom. I remember like it was yesterday when she got her testimony, because she got out of the bathroom and go like, because she had the burning in the chest, and she had I described to her how I received my testimony.
But then mine was slightly different. And so anyways, I was so in, and then he was like, yeah, I'm doing good. Not right now.
So she started dragging me to church by my ears. All right, honestly, she just did. I just love her so much. I could say no, I could not say no. They're the 7 children. Okay. So then, okay, we start going to church again. I start feeling the Spirit again. And, the repentance of understanding that the whole time I have only followed God because I wanted to get paid for it. It's what I call a career Mormon. It's like, by this age, I'm going to be a bishop. By this age, I'm going to be a stake president. By this age, I'm going to be, that kind of thing. And I'm supposed to get all these blessings for all these things that I'm doing. And I always saw the gospel in a very convenient way. So as my heart started changing and I started wanting to be close to God because I love him, because I trust him like a father and all that kind of stuff, everything changed to me. And we both came back to the church very, very strong. And, we've been, how many years already? We got married in the temple.
Yeah, we did.
In Mesa, Arizona. And we've been, just solid in the gospel back.
Well, it's because
for like
I
15
think both
years.
of, over 15 years now. And what I always told Gabriel is like, I understood, because one day I was like, I got genuinely upset. At one point I was getting so into it. I was like, I'm going to change my whole behavior, all my closet, throw out everything. If it's not garment worthy, I'm not putting it on. And I was so in it.
No,
and
she was up to here.
I was like,
You turned. No, she was going to be a Mennonite.
I do.
I think you have the wrong
I
idea.
was competing, man. I was competing.
I'm not putting that Mennonite. I'm just saying she wanted to
I
go up
did.
to here, up to the nail. I'm like, going,
And then he was
I'm
like,
whoa, I'm
honey,
quite a change.
honey, I think you're going off the deep end here. And so I had to find where the balance was, where I can be happy and I was living the principles and living my covenants, and I was feeling joy. And so I had to find that balance where it works. But I remember one day I was in church and I was like, man, this is the church of eternal progression. Why is there always something we have to do? And then I realized, oh, because that's what we came here to do. We're not here to be like flipping through TikTok and be like, oh my gosh, did you see that kitty cat? That was so funny. Meow, 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 meow. Again, meow, 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 meow. Like, we need to realize the whole point we are here is to go through experiences so we can grow and become more than what we came here being. Yes, we were intelligences. Now we have this form and we get to make bonds with people. We get to make covenants. We get to grow and become more. And as we're learning more, so will the challenges. It's like saying you walk into a gym, you're benching 20 pounds and you've got like 3 months benching 20. At one point, you're going to go, I'm going to get 40 in there because I'm not feeling the burn. You're not growing. You're not. So in life, it just doesn't feel as cool as it does in the gym. We're just like, I'm not seeing any results, so I'm just going to hop on some more weight. It gets really comfortable in life. You just want to be like, I'm good with my 20-pound weights. What do you mean? I got to put more weight on there? I'm sorry, what? Can I choose the weight? Oh, no, I can't. All right, I'm going to be surprised, but I'm going to like it afterwards. Okay. So I had to understand.
I like it, but you like the result.
I do like the results. You don't like whatever comes because I'm just saying.
We think that if God wanted us to live in paradise, he would not put that tree in there. He put that tree in there because just like the prophet said, God loves effort. So in order for us to have an effort, they have to be that tree messing it all up. And life can be messy, you know, and it's not perfect. And no, sometimes you see couples and you go, oh, everything. No. You always have to go through different things because God always makes sure you do, because that's what we come to do. So everybody has their own little tree and their little paradise. And no matter how paradise your life seems to be, their thing appears right there in there, just messing it up so that we can put an effort and grow.
Because that's the whole point. When people are going, but I don't know why this is happening to me. It's more like, what do I need to learn? And when I remember one day that I got paralyzed in the tub, and it was the most embarrassing thing for me because I was wet, I was naked, and I couldn't move. And I was, the only thing I could do was kind of holler at Gabriel, help me, I can't get out, help. And he comes and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I can't move. And the water was falling, and I had my foot in the position where the water was getting stuck in the tub. And I'm like, I'm going to drown. And I don't mean to drown myself. This is horrendous. And Gabriel had to pick me up and put me on the bed. And I started crying, and he just looked at me and said, baby, if this is what we need to go through, if this is the rest of our lives, we're going to make it work. It's going to be fine. And so you can't choose the way that the Lord is going to present opportunities for your growth. You don't choose that, but you do choose how you feel through them, and to believe that there is a purpose, that there is an education within this trial that you need to comprehend and understand, because somehow you haven't gotten it. And it's just like when you tell a kid, please eat your dinner, please do. And then at one point you're just like, if you eat, I will give you whatever you want. And after the negotiations don't work,
Ice cream.
just what candy, scream,
Just eat it.
eat it. And then if it doesn't work, at one point you're just like, I'm laying down the law, because you're not going to starve to death. And so sometimes he goes, I know you're better. I know you can grow more if you just
His
listen.
fear, you know, I just, honestly, God would like us to obey him because we love him. But when that doesn't work, usually it's blessing. Okay, look, I'm going to bless you with that. But when that doesn't work,
Okay,
and then the scary part comes in.
I got scared. I ain't gonna lie. I
Hey, I
did.
think we're taking.
I know we're taking so much time. I was
I don't know if we're
talking so
supposed to
much.
be taking questions or.
No, you know
All
what?
right.
You've been answering all the questions as you've been saying.
It's the more. I thought it was a monologue.
It's a monologue. And when you put us both in a room, it's like crazy. But yeah, so I learned a lot, and I learned to listen, because when I was there and there would be moments that I couldn't move, I said, okay, all right, I'm not going to cry anymore, because that's not leading me to anything. My eyes are getting puffy and I can't even wipe my face. So what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn? Because any word that I had been reading, so that's where the reading comes through. I was like, every time they had a trial, there was something they needed to learn. And some people didn't learn it on time, and other people did. And so they were able to come back for this. So what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn? And then I understood. I'm like, I need to let go of my vanities. I need to let go of outcomes. I need to just live, enjoy the moment, and be the best person that I could be every day. And if this is how I'm going to live from now on, I got to do it to the best of my abilities. And then I started living that way, and not living in regret, and not living looking back and saying, if I only could have, and if I should have, or why is this? I forgot the whys. I took off everything else except just going, I want to be in this avatar of a body, and I just want to feel your spirit within it. And that's how I lived. And I'm just lucky to be.
I think we need to allow some questions.
I know. Let's allow some questions. Okay.
I will, yeah, sure. There are a couple of questions. One of the questions that has just, how do you balance a big family like that in a career?
Balance. That's a funny word.
That is, I love the face of balance. It's actually, I think priorities is the word that we work.
It's more like a pie than a balance, all right?
Yes.
And you kind of split the 100% into a 200%. Somehow, it takes 200%, honestly.
Well, it's the thing is, if you live your life trying to balance, you'll have the same outcome of people who are balancing. If you prioritize, then all of your energy will go through the things that are the most worth. You know, the whole good, better, and best. We focus on the best, and then we see how many of the better things we can do, and how many of the good, you know what I mean? So best, and then good, and we didn't get to the good list. It's all right. We did the best things on the list. So sometimes I do have to say no to the money because I want to say yes to a lot of that, to say yes to my family. So even all of these amazing opportunities are coming. I'm like, if this doesn't align with my principles, I'm not going to take this role, no matter how
Which is
much
daily, you know,
It's
it's
It
daily.
is.
We
It
spend
is.
all day saying no. It's very kind of sad. You spend literally 40 something years by the time she's there to get the opportunities. And then when they come, you have to say no to all of them because they go against our principles and stuff like that. It's very, very difficult. We got very, very blessed that Disney allowed us to have a role that it was absolutely perfect for her. And you know, it's all about listening. And so it's very relaxed and it's just the characters is something that we have come to really love. By the way, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole identity politics, but Dolores is the first Afro-Latino character in the whole history of the world. It's the first time that a Latina has a main role. So since ever, it's always a like third degree character, you know, a brown person. In all of our soap operas, you will never find the main character to be a brown girl. Ever. Not ever.
You see it more in
So-
African Americans. They
yeah.
they do it all the time, but not for Latinos.
No.
So
never.
it was huge for us. Even Wilma.
That's why the money didn't matter.
Wilma Valderrama and I were talking. We're like, oh my gosh,
Wilma
look at what we've been able to accomplish. She's like, you're the first woman that's been able to do this. He's like, I felt that with that 70s show, and now look at where you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. But yes, priorities is what we focus on. We focus on priorities, and then I know that my priority is my family. After that is, you know, leaving an impact that is positive.
We have
in the world.
economical commitments because,
we
you
do.
know, a career is a career. And even though people think that music is some sort of hobby,
Nah,
like they have this idea that music is a hobby. Music is a product. You know, it's a product like shoes, like ties, like suits, like anything you see in your house. It has to be made. Somebody comes up with the idea. They have to have accountants. They have to have investments. So it is quite complicated. You're selling this persona or this sound or whatever, but in reality, Adassa, the product, is owned by Adassa, the person. And Adassa, the person, has to determine, you know, what will bring happiness to her, because we're after joy, not after money or anything else. Is to be able to continue to have joy. And then we believe in what the prophets have taught us, which is to live a modest life, you know, enjoy. It's just much better than to pursue top dollar, whatever. So at no point we're thinking, oh, we want to be Jennifer Lopez, you know. No, we want to be modest, you know, middle-class life, you know, that going to the kids to school and, you know, I mean, just doing all the things that are actually quite precious. And it is easy to feel that way after you're close to death. Because in that moment you realize, yeah, really what I want to do is hang out with my kids, watch a movie with them, eat some popcorn, just all the silliest thing, you know, changing diapers, you know, all that kind of stuff that sometimes extremely annoying, you know, turns out to be that it's really what life is about.
it's really valuable. Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been really great. One of the things that has been asked a couple of times is just what's on the horizon, Adassa?
Well, right now we have some partnerships we're doing with some great brands. I also am going to be doing what is it called? Roots? Is it called?
Roots Tech?
Yes, Roots Tech. So I'll be in Roots Tech, having a great opportunity doing that. I also
well, we've been touring a whole
been
lot.
touring. Yeah, we'll be
Honestly, we have to have a
I
rule,
know.
because if not, she will never come. The misses at church, we miss going to church because it's always on weekends.
Mhm.
So we have to change and have a rule where we can only go out of the house twice a month, which makes it quite complicated, you know. But sometimes we have to go 3 times. But I try to stay with Mr. Mom, which is very complicated because that means I don't have time to do my own business, which we were living off all these years, because now I have to be mom, and I have come to find out how extremely difficult that is. You know, it wears me out. I don't have any more strength to do anything after. I don't know, after putting out about 5 fires and a couple of fights, you know, I'm like down for the count. So we try to distribute it in a way that on the weekends she goes, I travel with her when it has anything to do with music because I'm her musical director. So it's fun though. when we do shows, I am the guy playing and controlling the band and,
Which we
negotiating
do,
the booking and stuff.
So we have live shows that we're doing, where we're doing concerts. We're also, I have a lot of performing events that I'm doing, like between Comic Cons and live shows. We have an event for Coca-Cola that we're doing.
We go to Germany.
We're going to
There's
Germany.
a lot of stuff, but not as much as it could be, because it can easily absorb your
Oh,
entire.
absolutely, because music is all about trying to find that opportunity to be able to do what you want to do. And when there's a lot of opportunity, that's what's happened to us. We've had to decide, do we just go after every single opportunity? I won't be home at all. So if I'm doing this for my children and I don't see them, all of a sudden I'm going to come back and I'm like, hey, when did you grow up 12 inches? I just don't want to go through that. So we select the opportunities that we feel are the most worth. And I love the fact that we could do this over Zoom, because I get to be here with my family, afterwards. So traveling, we're very careful with that, but I do as much as we
Traveling
can.
is a whole new set of rules.
Yeah,
When we're at home is one thing, but when we travel, there's commitments with the companies. It's an extremely complicated situation. But from home, we can do a lot of stuff.
so yeah, lots of traveling, but not
Well,
too much.
thank you. That was awesome. Now, Adassa, could we, there's been a few asking, would you be able to sing a little bit?
I make it.
Yeah, of course.
She keeps saying that she wants me to sing with her, but trust me, nobody wants to listen to me.
Okay.
It is all about you.
Oh, my sweet.
Yes, baby, it's all about
All
you.
right. All right.
So, do you want to get background music, or you just want to go there?
Yes, I'll just do it. Acapella.
I can maybe find an instrumental. No, I don't know.
Nah.
We were not ready for that. Sorry.
We're gonna do it on the fly. Okay, here we go. I know that my Redeemer lives. What comfort this sweet sentence gives. He lives who once was dead. He lives, my ever-living head. He lives to bless me with his love. He lives to plead with me on. He gives my hungry soul to feed. He lives to bless in time of need. He lives, all glory to his name. He lives, my Savior, still the same. Oh, sweet, the joy this sentence gives. I know that my Redeemer lives. He lives, all glory to his name. He lives, my Savior, still the same. Oh, joy this sentence gives. I know that my Redeemer lives.
And now you know what I didn't sing.
That was beautiful. That is actually a beautiful way to end this program. I was going to ask you to maybe just share your feelings about why you believe, and I think that summarizes it. But would you just like to maybe just share something at the end here, Adassa, about why you believe in the Savior Jesus Christ?
I believe in the Savior Jesus Christ because in my spirit, something calls beyond understanding in words, that there is more to life than we can possibly understand and see. When my spirit felt trapped in a body, I understood the eternal nature of who I am. And I understood that there are so many things that are temporary that we hold on to so dear that we feel we couldn't breathe without them. And yet, when it really comes down to it, we are here in this existence to be able to learn, to love, to understand, to face our fears, to grow and know who we are, and understand that this journey is for us and it is for our own good. And I believe that Heavenly Father allowed us this beautiful gift through his son, Jesus Christ, to be able to obtain this body, come here and return to him if we are worthy, if we follow the righteous path that he has laid before us, but we need to choose to take. How happy we'll be to understand our true nature and who we are. But I truly believe that he understands us more than we know, and he allows us to grow at our own pace. And this is not the only moment in time that we'll have to find out who we really are. But he does love us, and he is a caring and gracious Father. And I wish to let everybody know how much Heavenly Father loves each and every single one of you. And no matter what your trials are and what you may be going through and how unbearable the weight of life may feel on your shoulders and on your soul, there is someone who took all of that pain and was able to endure it in our behalf. And all we need to do is turn over all of that pain, all of that pressure over to him, and we will be able to follow our own paths, leading to wherever our journey goes, much happier and with hope.
Thank you. Beautifully said. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight on Why I Believe with Adassa and Gabriel. We're so grateful for them and their willingness to share their belief in Jesus Christ. Thank you and have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thanks, Adassa.